Loyalty is a guess until it's checked. Most people never check it. They just think people are loyal. They believe nice words, shared laughs, and spending time together means someone is truly on their side. But Machiavelli would have laughed at that idea. He knew better. In his world and in yours, loyalty isn't something people talk about. It's something you see when things get tough. The only way to know who is truly loyal is to test them. Do it quietly, cleverly, and even harshly if you have to. This is because, honestly, most people around you aren't loyal to you. They are loyal to the good things they get from being near you, like your strength, your position, or your attention. When those good things go away, so do they. Machiavelli. I thought that true loyalty shows up when there's something to lose, not when everything is easy. That's why he made up tests. These were small, planned challenges, not to hurt anyone, but to find out the truth about them. You don't ask someone, "Are you loyal?" Instead, you put them in a situation where being loyal costs them something. That's when you see their true self. Here's the first test. 1. Stop giving them attention. Stop praising them. Stop giving them your focus. Stop making them feel important in your life for a little while. Watch how they react. If they become distant, angry, cold, or start spending more time with others, they were never really with you. They just liked how you made them feel. That's not loyalty. It's like being addicted to their own ego. Machiavelli knew that people addicted to their ego are only loyal to how they look in your eyes. True friends don't disappear when the cheering stops. They don't need you to make them feel important. In fact, when you pull back, truly loyal people will come closer. They will check on you. They will stay put. But the fake ones will vanish. Or even worse, they'll find someone else to follow. Someone who is more useful right then. Let them go. You didn't lose them. You just found out who they really were. The second test is even more subtle. 2. Create some uncertainty. Talk about a big choice you're making. Maybe a risky move, a new plan, something that means change is coming. Now watch how they react. Do they support you? Or do they suddenly become worried, critical, or too concerned? Machiavelli would say, loyal people encourage brave moves. Right? Disloyal people hide their fear by giving advice. This test makes them feel uncomfortable. If your change creates distance or puts you ahead of them, their worries start to show. A real friend adjusts to your growth. Fake one tries to keep you where they feel safest, right next to them. They won't directly disagree with you. Instead, they'll say things like, "I just don't want you to get hurt," or "Are you sure this is a good idea?" But deep down, what they're really saying is, "Don't get too far ahead of me." At this point, you need to be very careful. Just watch. Don't say much. Let them talk. The more they speak, the more they show if they are trying to protect you or protect their own spot in your shadow. The third test is simple but hard. 3. Go silent. Don't do it as a game, and don't do it to punish them. Just create some space. See who steps in and who disappears. Machiavelli would say, when you're not there, you see who truly is. The people who only show up when you're visible, when you're doing well, when you're posting, talking, or entertaining, those are just watchers, not real helpers. True loyalty is quiet. It notices your silence, reaches out without needing an audience. It's the voice that says you've been quiet. Are you okay? Not, why aren't you answering me? This test hurts because it breaks your idea that you both care about each other. But false ideas are dangerous. Machiavelli knew that the biggest danger to any leader was not the army outside the gates. It was the betrayal waiting inside. So, you must treat your life like a kingdom. And not everyone deserves a place in your castle just because they smiled at the gates. The fourth test. 4. Show a moment of weakness. Let them see you unsure, struggling, or needing help. Don't make it a big show. Just let them see a time when you don't have all the answers, when your usual strength isn't there. Then watch. This is when loyalty either gets stronger or breaks. Some people are only loyal to your strength. They like the idea of you, not the real you. The moment they see a weakness, they step back. Not because they care, but because your weakness makes them uncomfortable. Why? Because they were never really supporting you. They were using your strength to get ahead. If that ladder breaks, they move to the next one. Machiavelli would say, "The one who stays when the palace is shaking is the only one who deserves to be beside you when it's rebuilt." And finally, the fifth test, the hardest and most powerful of all. 5. Give them a chance to gain something by betraying you. Make it subtle, planned, not too extreme, but real. Something that tempts them. The moment where choosing themselves over you gives them an advantage. Watch carefully. Do they warn you ahead of time? Do they hide it? Do they try to make excuses for it later? Or do they come to you first with clear and honest words? This test doesn't just show their loyalty. It shows what they truly value. Values, unlike words, don't lie. The truth is, most people will fail one of these tests. This is because most people are not built for true loyalty. They are built for Gavandake, for convenience, for how things look. But Machiavelli didn't care about how things looked. He cared about what happened. And the result of these tests is clarity. We'll lose people, but what you gain is quiet peace. And loyalty that has been proven through fire, not just declared when things are easy. You don't need an army. You don't need many friends. You need 3, 2, or even just one. The kind who stays when there's no reward, who believes when there's no clear reason, who protects you even when you're not there. But you will never know who that is until you test them. Most people go their whole lives surrounded by shadows. People who agree with them, laugh when they succeed, and disappear when they suffer. They call this friendship. They call this loyalty. But Machiavelli would call it what it really is, a disguise. A soft show of caring that hides a hidden fight for their own benefit. And unless you are willing to step back and test these people, you will spend your life building on sand, trusting loyalty that was never there, and showing your plans to people who are waiting to use them. When you test someone, you are not being mean. You are being responsible. You are not creating betrayal. You are finding it. This difference is everything. People will try to make you feel bad. They'll say you've changed, that you're cold now, that you don't trust them. And they're right. You don't. Not until they have earned it. It's not until they have passed what Machiavelli would call the necessary challenges of being true. You don't give out trust easily, but you make them work for it. Not with words, but by being consistently good. Something unsettling happens when you start doing these tests. The people you thought were strong allies start to waver. The way conversations feel changes. People start to wonder about your reasons why. Because if someone benefits from your not knowing, your awareness becomes a threat to them. They feel it. It's a change in you, how precise you are, how you pull back. And if they are doing something wrong, they won't admit it. They'll fight back. Not with violence, but by subtly trying to hurt you. That's how you know the test worked. You see, a fake friend isn't always a bad person. Sometimes they are just weak. They break under pressure. They change their mind when things get difficult. They need you to be a version of yourself that is good for them. The moment you change, grow, or become tougher, they start to leave. Machiavelli would say, "The weak will always think strength is cruelty." This is where most people fail. They pass the test, they see the truth, and still they stay. Because of old memories, because of fear, because of that old, dangerous question. But what if I'm wrong? When your gut feels tight, when you feel drained around them, when your successes feel like something you need to hide, you already have your answer. You are just putting off what needs to happen. Machiavelli wasn't interested in feeling comfortable. He was interested in having control. And control needs clarity. You can't guess where someone stands. Not if you are building something important. Not if you are moving up. Not if your words have power. Your time has value, and your silence has strength. You must know who is truly beside you. Don't imagine, don't hope, don't assume. No, and here's the surprising part. Once you start living this way, being strategic, observant, and tough, the right people will also show themselves. It's not all about betrayal. Your silence shows who is loyal just as clearly. You pull back and someone steps forward, not for themselves, but for you. That's real. That's not just a show. That's true connection. And it doesn't happen often. When it does, protect it like something very valuable. Because you'll start to realize that one loyal person is worth more than 100 convenient ones. You'll also realize something else. Loyalty isn't loud. It doesn't shout about itself. Doesn't need to. Loyalty is steady. It's calm. Doesn't need proof because it's built on being there. When someone is truly on your side, you feel it. Not just when you're winning, but when you're unsure, quiet, or distant. They don't vanish, they stay. Not always perfectly, not always loudly, but they stay. The good thing about Machiavelli's tests is that they don't need arguing. No shouting, no fights. It's just patterns, silence, pulling back, chances, and then watching. Let others show who they are. At their loyalty or lack of it, speak louder than their words ever could. Most people are scared of this. They don't want to know. They would rather live with a false idea than cut someone out of their life. But every day you keep a disloyal person close, you are not protecting them. You are hurting yourself. Loyalty is like a strong castle, and every fake friend inside that castle is a crack in its walls. You don't fix cracks with paint. You fix them by tearing out what's weak and rebuilding with strong stone. So start quietly, carefully, pull away, make space. Make moves that create some tension. Not because you want to ruin the relationship, but because you're checking what holds it together. The right ones will stay strong. The wrong ones will fall. And when they do, let them. No explanations, no apologies, just silence. That silence, that's your power. Use it. Move forward. There's a strange peace that comes when the wrong people leave your life. Not right away. At first it feels empty, like something is missing. But that empty feeling isn't truly empty, it's clarity. Space being made for what's real. For what truly makes you stronger. And Machiavelli would say, power doesn't grow in crowded rooms. It grows in clear, uncluttered ones. Every fake friend removed is not taking something away. It's making things pure. You're not losing support. You're removing confusion. Because when someone's loyalty is fake, their presence isn't neutral. It's harmful. Every time they speak, they make your vision unclear. Every time they agree, they make you less sharp. Every time they smile, they make you hesitate. And hesitation is deadly, not just in war, but in life, in goals, in plans. That's why you test. Not because you enjoy it, not because you want to be feared, but because you have things to protect. Your energy, your time, your legacy. And those who are not truly with you are quietly against you. Maybe not on purpose, but their weakness will eventually clash with your strength. And when it does, they'll either leave or betray you. So make these tests a normal part of your life. Do them often, not just once. Loyalty isn't something you check once and then forget. It's something you keep checking, like security at the gates. Machiavelli's biggest fear wasn't a revolt by strangers. It was the quiet ambition of those inside his own trusted group. History proved him right. Again and again, empires fell not. Because of attacks from outside, but because of rot from within. Friends became rivals. Allies became enemies. Why? Because no one noticed the change in time. Or worse, they noticed and kept quiet. But you won't. Because now, you're not just watching, you're managing things. When you talk about uncertainty, you're watching reactions. When you pull back, you're noting who follows and who fades. When you show weakness, you're testing their true reasons. When you give them chances that could benefit them at your expense, you're watching where their loyalty bends. And all the while, you stay quiet, calm, and precise. That silence is your advantage. The moment you accuse someone, they have space to lie, to twist things, to defend themselves. But when you simply watch, you see the truth. People show their true selves most when they think no one is watching. So become the mirror they don't know is looking. Become the silence that hears more than words, and never explain your tests. Once they know you're testing them, the results are worthless. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They think loyalty is about how someone treats them. But it's more than that. It's how someone treats your name when you're not there. How they talk about you in a room full of critics. How they act when power shifts. Loyalty is proven most when you are not in charge, not influential, not at an advantage. So if you're ever unsure, step out, disappear, let things settle. And then see who is still standing by you when there's nothing to gain. This way of thinking is rare because most people desperately want to belong, to be liked, to be surrounded by others. But Machiavelli didn't write for the desperate. He wrote for those who want to be in charge. Being in charge isn't found in having a big group. It's found in control. The more careful you are with who you team up with, the more powerful you become. Because now your group isn't just full, it's strong. It's loyal by design, not by chance. You'll notice the difference right away. True loyalty acts differently. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't need constant feeding. It works in the background. It protects you quietly. It doesn't fall apart when things get bad. It gets stronger. And when you talk about pain, it doesn't get awkward or distant. It leans in. That kind of loyalty is rare. But it's worth everything. Because when you find even one person like that, someone who would defend you without being asked, someone who would step in before you even realize you need help, you understand something very powerful. You don't need to be surrounded by many people to feel supported. You just need one who is real. And here's the final good part of the loyalty test. Once you start doing it to others, you begin doing it to yourself. You start asking, am I loyal? In silence, do I protect those who trust me? Or do I disappear when it's inconvenient? That question hits hard. Because true power isn't just about getting loyalty from others. It's about being loyal yourself. Being the person others can trust even when they're not watching. That's how you build strong, lasting things. The test of loyalty doesn't end with finding out about others. It becomes a mirror. When you've seen betrayal up close, when you've felt the silence of those who vanished, when you've watched trust break because it was easy to do so, you start to sharpen yourself. Not just how you deal with others, but how you deal with yourself. Machiavelli believed that a leader must be both feared and respected. But most importantly, he must be trusted by the few who truly matter. And that kind of trust comes from being consistent, from being disciplined, from never giving in to disloyalty, even in yourself. Because if you demand loyalty, you must also offer it. Not freely to everyone, but strongly to the few who earn it. You must protect their name quietly. You must guard their secrets like important weapons. You must stand with them, not just when it's easy, but especially when it costs you something. That is the final change Machiavelli hinted at, from leading others to leading yourself. But let's be clear. Offering loyalty doesn't mean allowing weakness. It doesn't mean defending someone who has failed your tests. It means that when you do, find that rare true friend, the one who passes every test you throw at them, the attention test, the uncertainty test, the silence test, the weakness test, the temptation to betray test. That person becomes a part of your inner core. Not just your group, but your very core. And that core is sacred. Once you have that, everything changes. Your focus gets tighter. Your actions become sharper. You stop explaining yourself. You stop looking over your shoulder, because now you have people who watch your back. You have someone who doesn't just clap for your wins. They protect the space around you so you can win without problems. Someone who doesn't secretly compete with you while pretending to cheer. Someone who doesn't see your struggles as a chance to get ahead of you. Most people will never experience this because most people are too scared to test the people around them. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of what they might find. But that fear is what keeps them weak, surrounded but not truly supported. Cheered for, but not protected. Liked, but never respected. And Machiavelli would remind you. Respect is always more important than affection in the game of power. So when you start cutting ties, separating, making your circle better, you're not becoming cold. You're becoming precise. Being precise is not cruel. It is about survival. And those who can't understand that were never meant to lead. They were meant to follow, to depend, to cling. That's not who you are. You were here to lead, to be strong, to see the battle ahead before the enemy even moves. And you do that by testing every possible threat before it can hurt you. Not just the obvious ones, but the quiet ones. The ones who smile a bit too much. The ones who agree too easily. The ones who are always around but never show deep feelings. Test them. Watch them. And when they fail, don't explain. Don't try to fix them. Just cut them off. There's a strange power in knowing that the few people who remain have been strengthened by tough times. They weren't picked randomly, weren't kept out of sentimentality. They were chosen because they passed, because they stood strong when others gave up, because they earned their place. It's not with words, but with proof. And those people, those rare, quiet, sharp individuals, they are your real strength. They don't need attention. They don't need praise. They just need access to you. And once you give it, they use it to make you stronger, not to weaken you. That's what makes them powerful. That's what makes them priceless. So you act differently now. You speak less. You watch more. Every talk becomes information. Every silence becomes a test. Every reaction becomes a clue. And every betrayal becomes a clean cut you make once, without hesitation. There's no ceremony, no emotional goodbyes, just space, absence, detachment. Because the ones who failed the test were never meant to stay. And the ones who pass, they never leave.